Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I wanted to go through a how-to guide on setting up OpenVPN within the Asus routers. So I think this is the same across the different models in the Asus range, where you have the VPN manager and then you can select PPTP, OpenVPN or IPsec VPN types. Seems to be that OpenVPN is quite popular. It can be a bit more complicated to set up than the Instant Guard and some of the others across platforms, but it seems to be OpenVPN is open source and trusted a lot as well, and very secure. So I just wanted to go through the process of how to actually set it up in the router. In this particular one, of course, the router I'm using is the GT-AX11000, but I believe it's the same across the Asus routers. Then also on how to actually get the configuration file onto your mobile device, so that's either your tablet or your phone. I believe the steps will be same between iOS and on Android. So the way I'm going to do it is through the cloud. So you save the file to, say, your G Drive or Google Drive or OneDrive or your iCloud, and then you can actually open the file up on your mobile device and have it actually install. I find that's the easiest way. You can email the file to yourself as well, but the way I'm going to do it is more straightforward, I find. And then afterwards I can either store the file to use on multiple devices, or I can delete it afterwards for security. Okay, so this is the actual OpenVPN website. So as you can see, it is a open source VPN, and as I said, it's actually quite good. So you can buy it in two lots, where you can have it an actual OpenVPN access server, or you can self-host it, and I think that's like we're doing, because it's already as a feature, it's already built into our Asus routers already, and it is quite powerful. As it says here, a lot of businesses and enterprises actually use it as well for site-to-site remote access, and also for their IoT communications. So you can see it is quite good, and you have a choice of the settings on how much secure you want it to do. So if we go to our router now, so as you can see here, what I've actually gone into first of all within the actual firmware within the router is to actually go to WAN and then go to DDNS. So as we said before in previous videos, what this does, it turns your IP address of, say, 192.168.50.1 into an actual web address you could probably remember. So it could be myrouter.asus.com or whichever ones it's chosen. As you can see here, you do have a choice of the different ones you've got here, so you can register between them, and Asus has their own one as well, so you can select that one, and then you can choose the other companies as well if you've registered previously with them, so you can get an actual details and everything else. Then all you do, once you've got that, then all you do is you just type in your host name that you were given on their website, and then also your username or email address, and then the password. And then you can enable wildcards. That means that you can have subdomains. It depends on how technical you want to get, so you can enable that. I personally have it as no, because I just have it as the one address. And then you've got there the WAN IP and host verification, you'll leave as yes, and everything else. Most importantly, you do want to sign up for a free certificate from Let's Encrypt. And what's good about the Asus firmware is that it will automatically register this for you and renew it when it comes to expire. And you'll see the status here as active, and then it will give you an expiry date as well, where the certificate information is, so you can keep an eye on that as well. So once you've registered and everything else, you don't have to do this option, but it just makes it so when you set up the VPN server, you'll have an address there that was constantly, so if you do have to restart your router, it will then actually be remembered, and you don't have to do the configuration again, because it will be specific to the IP address instead of the actual DDNS. So now if we go to VPN, so if we get that to load up, mine's taking a bit of time. I think it's because I've got multiple connections and everything else on my Wi-Fi currently. So as you can see here, you do have VPN Server, VPN Fusion and InstaGuard that I've got all previous videos. So if you go to the Asus playlist, you can see all the videos there and search for them. So as we're saying, we want to be interested in OpenVPN, and to enable this, you just select on, and then it will give you the details. So it does say here the first thing is you got VPN details general, and then you have advanced, and we'll come on to that in a minute. Then you have your port number, so that's where your default port for OpenVPN. It says due to security concerns we suggest using a port from, and it suggests the number here, so it's always good. You have the RSA encryption. Again, I default it to 2048, but if you're not too worried about encryption, then it's fine, you can leave that as that. And then it will say also client will use VPN to access, so you can have your VPN to local network only. If you just want to use your VPN to access your, say, media server or your router that's on your network, or just your local devices. But if you want to connect, say if you're in an internet cafe or hotel Wi-Fi and you want to access the internet as well at the same time, so what it does, it'll go from your public Wi-Fi that you're using, and then it'll connect to your the router, and then from the router it'll go out to the internet. So it can be a little bit slower, the connection, but it's more secure because it's all encrypted and it's through yours. So when you're accessing the internet, it'll see you coming from actually your home from the router here. So I always leave it as internet and local network. And then it gives you some instructions around here about the OpenVPN, and also these take you to, you can click on these for Windows, Mac OS, iPhone, iPad and Android. And this is the actual how-to guides from Asus. So if you do get stuck or any troubleshooting, then you can go to these as well. The next section down here is, as it says here, is for username and password, and it's a maximum of 16 users. So if you do want to set up a new user to access it, you can then select it here. So you can do you can type the username and then the password for the user, and then you just click add, and they will be added to the list below. And as I said, you can give up to 16 users at a time. It might, if you do use the maximum, it will probably slow down the router because it does use a lot of bandwidth and also CPU and RAM as well. So it says a maximum limit of 16. I think most home users will probably be about 4 maximum, but you might have more anyway. So yeah, so now if we move on to advanced settings, this will give you a greater selection of settings that you can actually choose. So as you can see here, your interface type is tap or ton. So basically for tunnel. So as you can see here, we want to actually have it as a TUN, a TUN, because that's much better for us, and it's more convenient for connectivity as well. Protocol, so you've got a choice of TCP and UDP. So I've got an explanation for those there. So the difference between TCP and UDP, as we can see in our diagram here, we've got here the top one is how UDP works. So basically it just sends all the information as fast as it can. So it is much faster than TCP, but it's not as reliable. But it is much faster. So if you're doing gaming over VPN or anything like that, or video, and you're not really worried about, you know, if you get some lost packets and things like that, then select UDP. But if you're more concerned about, and you want to make sure the information you're sending or backing up to your local network, then it's best to send it by TCP. So it depends on what your method you're using and the reason why you're using the VPN. But again, like I said, if you're backing anything up and it's important, you want to make sure the information is there, TCP is best for you. But if you're going for anything that wants the maximum speed and that's the most important to you, go for UDP. So you can select here. I normally select with TCP because that's just as fast as I need it, and when I've been in hotel Wi-Fi and things like that, then it's been okay. But if you do want more speed and you have a problem with TCP, you can always try UDP. Again, it's showing you the port that we've gone over before, and then it's saying here respond to DNS. So we want to leave that as yes, so it makes sure it connects, and also advertise DNS to client. So that's your internal DNS servers if you've set anything up there that's not your ISP. Then you've got the encryption information, so the cipher. So I think 128 is sufficient, but if you want to be extra secure, then you can leave it as 256 on here. And again, the same as here, you can leave it on the SHA 256, but it does all go up to 512, and there's other encryption ciphers as well. But I leave it as 256. I know it's probably a little bit overkill, but it's good. As it says here, compression, I think there's an actual security flaw around using compression, and by default it is disabled, so I would leave it as disabled as well. So you've got username and password authorization only, so that's your username and password we entered in the actual other section. So I normally leave that to no, because I use like the TLS keys and certificate. It's a bit more secure, and I leave the encryption even though the default is 1024, and that's more than enough. I like the extra security, and the option is there, so, and it doesn't seem to slow it much down, so I put it up to 2048. And you've got the extra here for authorization, as it says here, around for DOS. OpenVPN static key will be used. I normally leave that as disabled because I don't need that, and these I leave as default. You can change this if you want to. This is the IP address it gives to the OpenVPN clients. Again, you got push to LAN to clients, so enable this option allows VPN clients to access your local area network, your LAN. And then again, this is the same as what we've gone through before. You want them to have access to the internet as well, so I normally leave them on both yes, and everything else can be the default. And there is a box here if you want to customize any configurations for anything advanced, so you do have that option. So once you've selected everything you want to, so I do advise you probably do go to, if you just want to set it up quickly, just leave it on general. But if you do want to actually customize anything and add extra encryption or anything like this, or you just want to have a look at the settings, and then use the drop down and go to advanced. So once we've done that, you just click apply, and then you'll see the actual settings actually being applied. It shouldn't take too long, and it doesn't need a restart of the router as well. So once that's done, it'll say complete, and then it'll start loading up. And as we have here now, it's gone back to the main page to general. So it's going back to that one there, and it's got the details. And now we've got our users here, but also more importantly, we've got our export now. So we can export the OpenVPN configuration file and the current certification as well. And as it says here, if you've got an original one to upload as well, so if you've had a configuration before and you want to upload that, then you can do here as well. But as this is a new one, I want to just export these here. So these export, literally you click on it and then you save it in the place that's best for you. So now we'll go on to where I normally save it. So moving on now, we want to export it. So what I've done here is the export. So we don't need to currently export certificate as well. We just need to open VPN configuration file. So I've clicked on export, and of course it's asked me where I want to save it. So I've saved it in my new folder in OpenVPN, and particularly I'm currently using an Mac Apple computer, so I've saved it in my iCloud drive. So that means I can access my iCloud drive within my iPad or my tablet or my phone, any mobile device, and I can open that within the device, and then it will open automatically within the OpenVPN app. The same as you can use OneDrive, or as I said before, your Google Drive. So the easiest way I would say is save it into a new folder within one of your cloud storage devices, or like Dropbox or anything like that. Anything where it's across your devices and your devices can access it. So once it's saved in here, now we'll move on to your actual mobile device and how you actually install it within your mobile device and then connect. So now we'll move on to actually installing the configuration file that we saved in our cloud drive. So as I said, it depends on what app you've used and everything else, but this is going to be the same for Android as well. So it doesn't matter if yours is Apple or Android. So as long as your device has been, you've saved it onto your cloud drive, so you just open up your cloud drive app. So in my instance, it will be files for iCloud, and as you can see here on I've got the OpenVPN that we had on the computer is actually here. I've opened that folder, and now I can see the client OVPN file. So that's the configuration file we saved. So as we can see here, it's already got the OpenVPN actual symbol, the icon. So how to open that within there? So it's straightforward enough. All we have to do is just click on it. It will say there client. So we'll, in particular the instance, you will do open with on Android, and then but on iOS, what you do is you click on the top right hand corner with the little arrow up and the square, and then you'll have your applications at the bottom row, and then all you do is you just select the OpenVPN one, and then you'll see here that it will come up there trying to import it. It'll say one new OpenVPN profile is available for import. It'll have your hopefully your DDNS address, and then it will just say standard profile. You can add or delete it. So you just want to click add. Then it will give you a profile name. So then you can just give your profile name here of what you want to call it. So you could just call it home network, just so you remember. And then this is where you set your username and password that you've set up actually within your router before, as we saw in the first step. So this is where you set up the user's information. So in my case, it would just be test user, test user 1, and then the super secure password. And then once you've added all of that in there, then you click on add. And then this is specific again to iOS. It might show on your Android device depending what make it is. It will ask you, allow you to add a new VPN. So you just click allow, and then you enter your detail, either your PIN or your password for your device, and then it's added. So now we can see that we're currently disconnected, and it's got OpenVPN profile home network. And then once, what we want to do now next is you can actually, if you've got another one profile you want to add for any reason, you click the bottom right hand corner, and on the top right hand corner you'll see like a scroll. If you do click on that, you'll see lots of information anytime you want to find out or troubleshoot anything. This is the log, connection log. So this will be all the information on what it connects to and the encryption and everything else that's happening in the background. So it's really good to see. So now that we've gone through the different options there, you can see that we've got that profile now set up. So I would first of all advise, if you're on your mobile device, so your tablet or your phone, is to switch to cellular or 3G or 4G or 5G if you have connection. So it's disconnected from the network. Just to test, you make sure you're testing it outside your home network to make sure it works. Then all you do is the little switch here, you just push on it. It should take too long, and like you can see here, I'm using 4G, and it connected rather quick straight back to my my network router. And as you can see here, it'll give you the bytes in and bytes out and the stats. Then it should identify that you're on a VPN on the top of your device as well. And then it'll give you all the information about the user, your IP, the server, and the server public IP address, that's either IP6 or IP4. So that's really straightforward. I hope you found it helpful. And as you can see within the screen here, once you have connected, if you go into your software or the firmware that's on the actual router, you'll be able to go back into the VPN and then go to OpenVPN, and at the bottom where we had the username and password, as you can see, it will actually, instead of say disconnected, it will say connected, and then you'll be able to hover your mouse over there, and you'll be able to see more information as well. So I hope you found this useful as a quick guide on setting up OpenVPN Server on the Asus routers. If you do have any questions, then please let me know, and I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.